Hello everyone. We will be starting today learning about the IUPAC nomenclature of organic chemistry, under which we will be doing the first section about IUPAC nomenclature of alkenes. When we come to the term called nomenclature, the word nomenclature means giving name, assigning name to a particular compound. Initially, when nomenclature were there used to be two types of it. One is known as common or trivial system, and second is IUPAC system. Common or trivial system is the oldest system. It is still in use, but it has very less limited applications. While IUPAC system is more systematic, scientific, and a perfect system which is accepted throughout every country. When we consider the common system nomenclature, in common system, names are based either on the names of the source from which the compound is obtained, or name of the discovery person, the scientist, or some other Latin or Greek language related name. These names are called either common names or trivial names. Let us see some examples which you are aware and the reasons for them. For example, you have heard of a compound called acetic acid, whose formula is CH3COOH. This is obtained from the plant which gives us vinegar. Now, vinegar's botanical name is acetum. So, from the name of acetum, the name acetic acid has been derived. Similarly, formic acid. This acid is found in most of the insects and it was first discovered in red ants. Red ants are in Greek language called formicus, the plural formica. That's how the name has come, formic acid. The names urea and uric acid, they are obtained by the name urine because in urine, human and mammals urine, uric acid is found. Another interesting one to know is barbituric acid. Barbituric acid is a very famous chemical and it was earlier used as a poison, and it is named after the girlfriend's name of Adolf von Baer, who discovered this, synthesized it in the laboratory. We can clearly see from the source's name to the scientist whims, common name can have anything. That is why, better than common system, obviously we go for learning IUPAC system. The term IUPAC is an acronym, short form of International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So the first letters are taken IUPAC. This is an international federation of chemists of all the countries. IUPAC has a registered office in Zurich, Switzerland, and it was officially announced on 1919. The special thing about IUPAC is every organic structure will have only one IUPAC name, and for a given IUPAC name, only one structure is possible. Meaning is IUPAC nomenclature gives emphasis on structure of the compound. IUPAC names have already three parts in them. The first part is known as word root. What we write before word root is called prefix, and what we write after word root is called suffix. Even prefix and suffix are again divided in two parts, primary and secondary. So, for example, suffix is primary suffix, secondary suffix, prefix also primary and secondary. There are a lot of prefixes and suffixes you can remember, but today we are only going to study in this video only about alkenes. So let us begin with the knowledge of what are these word roots. Word root tells us that how many carbon atoms are present in a given chain, the longest chain. For example, the word roots can be meth, eth, prop, but, pent, hex, hept, oct, non, dec. This indicates the number of carbon atoms present. More than 10 also names are to remembered for your college level, like undec for 11, dodec for 12, tridec for 13, then up to 20 you have to remember. The 20 is called ICOS. These are the names of the word roots. Now, word root only tells us how many carbon atoms are present, but it doesn't tell us whether the compound is containing single bond, double bond, or a triple bond. That is why word root is connected to a suffix. So, primary suffix and secondary suffix, we will right now see only primary suffix. In primary suffix, you can see if the compound has purely single bonds, we end the word with ane, A-N-E. For example, if there are 3 carbon atoms in a chain, so the word root will be prop, ending will be ane, that is how the name propane comes. Similarly, for double bond, it is ene, triple bond, it is ine, Y-N-E, pronounced as ine. If a compound has 2 double bonds, then it is called diene, 2 triple bonds, it's called diene. You can very well have more than 2 double and triple bonds also. They will be termed as triene, triine, and so on. You can very well have a mixture of ene and ine also. But how to name those compounds, we will see in the next video after that. After suffixes, what we come across is prefix. And right now I'm only discussing the prefixes of alkanes, which are alkyl groups. Now these alkyl groups we had seen in the last lecture also, and every student must by heart the structure and the name of these alkyl groups. There are 8 basic alkyl groups we know: methyl, ethyl. Under propyl you have 2, N and iso, and under butyl we have 4, N, iso, sec and tert. In previous class we had seen all the details of this. Now coming to the IUPAC nomenclature of alkenes. We will see every rule and an example related to that rule. Rule number 1 says that we have to select the longest continuous chain of carbon atoms. The longest continuous chain of carbon atoms. This particular chain is known as a parent chain. Outside the parent chain, whatever comes is called substituent, branch, or a side chain. Let us explain this with an example. In this particular example, we can see the parent chain is of in a horizontal way, and there are total 7 carbon atoms present in it. Take a moment and just count them. There are 7 carbon atoms, which I have marked as a parent chain. Outside the parent chain, whatever groups are present, they are called substituents, branches, or side chains. Rule number 2. There are chances that we may come across 2 chains in a same compound with same length but different side chains. Let me explain. Imagine this particular compound. Now, which longest chain we can select under this? We can select this horizontal as the long chain, and you can see it contains how many? Count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 carbon. This is a 7 carbon chain, and whatever methyl, methyl, propyl and methyl groups you see, these are all side chains. So this long chain contains 7 carbon atoms. But we will see this compound now in a different manner. I have drawn the same compound here, but look at this particular chain. Here you can see it contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Once again 7 carbon atoms. So I have a case where in one compound totally different 2 long chains are possible. Obvious question is, out of 2, which is the correct one? The rule says if you have such a situation, select that long chain which offers more side chains. For example, in first case, how many side chains do we see? 1. This is entirely second, third and fourth. While over here in this long chain, This is one side chain connected, and this is another big side chain. That means the first compound has four side chains, the other structure has only two. So the rule says select that with the more side chains. So obviously the right hand side compound is a wrong chain selected and the first is a correct selection. This rule needs to be applied whenever there are large sized compounds, and don't forget to apply this rule at that time. It is always better to check in IUPAC names chains from both the directions. Sometimes the long chain might come in a different way altogether. Another rule says about the position of the side chains. For example, when you consider this particular example, I can see a long chain of say 5 carbon atoms here. This X what I have written is a substituent, and we need to give the locant means position number, the address of the carbon on which X is present. For example, if I number this chain from right to left, on the second carbon there is a group present. But suppose the same thing is labeled from left to right, I will get a number 4. That means the rule says we have to select the locant which is the lowest one. Locant means the position number. Obviously, lowest locant is a correct one, higher number will be wrong one. This is a most important and very fundamental rule which will be used almost in each and every IUPAC nomenclature. Next rule is regarding the name writing, how to write final IUPAC name with all these rules. Let us consider one example here. In this one, we follow the steps. What are the steps of giving name? First, long chain, second one, locant, and third, side chains. So, in this one, find the long chain. You can see this 5 carbon atom long chain is present. So, what is the name of the long chain? 5 carbon indicates pent. Since there is no double or triple bond, the suffix is "ane", so the name becomes pentane. Now the side chain present substituent here is methyl. Number it from both the directions and see. From right hand side the number is 2. That means on second carbon methyl is present. If you number by mistake from left hand side, position number will be 4, which will obviously be incorrect. So our lowest locant is 2. Hence the final name becomes 2-methyl pentane. So while writing, locant is written first, substituent is written afterwards, parent chain is written later. You can also observe between a number and a letter there is a hyphen, dash. First letter has to be capital and entire name is without any space or a gap. These are the rules we must follow while writing. Consider another example. Now, which can be a long chain out here? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This seems to be one chain. Also observe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So the longer chain is to be selected, not every time horizontal. Now in this case, the long chain is 6 carbon atoms, so we call it hexane. Besides hexane, this is a side chain, that is 2 carbon atoms. That is called ethyl. Check the locant number, first, second, third. On the third carbon, ethyl is connected. If you check from bottom to top, it is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So on fourth position, ethyl is present. Obviously, we will select the lowest one. Lowest locant is 3. So our name becomes 3-ethyl hexane. First we write locant, then we write substituent, then we write parent chain. No gap in between at all. I have covered very simple examples over here. We will go for some more complications. Imagine here where you have more than 2 substituents present. For example, in this case, I have a chain of 6 carbon atoms straight chain. Where are my locants? If I number it from right to left, on second carbon there is methyl, third carbon there is methyl, fifth carbon there is methyl. So my locants are 2, 3 and 5. Suppose I name this compound from left to right. My locants will be 2, 4 and 5. In such situation, we have to compare individual positions. For example, 2 is compared with 2. Since the numbers are same, we take the next set, that is 3. Now 3 is compared with 4. You can see 3 is a smaller number than 4. So we select the first set of numbering. So always in larger compounds, you need to write always names, numbers, locant number from both the directions. Compare who is a smaller set and you have to take that one as a correct one. Suppose we are having more than 2 or 3 side chains. How do we name it? Let us consider this example. In this one, let us first find our long chain. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another one could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Obviously, this becomes our long chain. So my long chain present is hexane. What is present as substituent here? Methyl, methyl and methyl. So there are 3 methyl present, and at which positions? If I take from left to right, my positions are 1, 2 and 3. So on third carbon, we have methyl and methyl. On fifth, we have a methyl. So from left hand side, the numbers are 3, 3 and 5. What about the right hand side? Right to left. This is second, fourth and fourth. So obviously 2 is smaller than 3. So we consider the final name as 2, 4, 4 trimethyl hexane. This becomes our nomenclature for this compound. In next examples where we are having a very unique case, let me explain it rather than reading the rule. Imagine this particular example. And which long chain do we understand here? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Where are the side chains present? Here there is a methyl chain. Here there is an ethyl chain. So we can see there are 2 chains present. And heptane is the long chain. The side chains are being, as I said, methyl and ethyl. Now comes a question, which are the locant numbers? If I number it from left to right, my numbers are 3 and 5. So from left hand side, on third there is methyl, on fifth there is ethyl. Let us consider numbering from right to left. So on right to left we will get third position ethyl and fifth position methyl. Now the question is, a very unique case has occurred where both the directions numbers are coming same. If such a situation arises, the rule says whichever is alphabetically first must get the smallest number. So ethyl E being the first should get the least number out of 2. Remember, caution, this rule is only to be used when and only when the numbers from both the directions are coming same, never in any other case. So the final name is 3-ethyl 5-methyl heptane. This rule is to be used with caution every time. If the names are given with bond line notations, for example, if this is a case given to us, this is a bond line notation structure we have, and we have to give an IUPAC name to this. Now in this particular case, we select the long chain as usual. So there is carbon number 1, carbon 2, third and fourth carbon. So there is a chain of butane. Now there are side chains I can see. On second position, there is a methyl group. On second position itself, there is another methyl group. So the substituents are methyl and methyl, that is dimethyl. If I number from left to right, the numbers are 2 and 2. If I number from right to left. This is first, this is second, this is third. Obviously, these are larger numbers. We will reject them. So the final name becomes 2,2 dimethyl butane. We have completed right now the IUPAC nomenclature of very simple alkanes. Very simple alkanes, where merely simple side chains are present, nothing more than that, and chains could be just ethyl, methyl, and all. In the next set, we will be doing the IUPAC nomenclature of complex substituent. Okay.